Hi there, it's Rachel Gregg and welcome to our YouTube channel. In this video, I'd like to share with you how you can decorate an envelope with stencils to create some really fun mail art that you can send through the post. So the stencil that I'm starting with here, this is called the 3 strips stencil. And as you can see on the stencil, it's just got 3 strips, which you can use either horizontally like I'm doing here, or you can also use it vertically as well. And it creates some really interesting backgrounds for cards, but it also works really well for using as an address template for your envelopes. So instead of just tracing around this template, what I'm doing is adding a little bit of color. So I'm using Distress inks, and this first color that I'm using is Squeezed Lemonade. And I'm just using an ink blending tool. So this tool's got a little bit of foam on the bottom of it, and I'm just tapping it into the ink pad and transferring that ink to the envelope. So you can see that this works really well for sending mail art because the envelope is flat and it won't interfere with any of the mail system. And it's also just a really fun way to decorate your envelopes for your recipient and who you're sending mail to. This little next color here, this is Dried Marigold. So I did a bit of the first color, the Squeezed Lemonade. You can see how I did the top of the strips and the bottom of the strips, and now I'm going through the center strip with the Dried Marigold, and I'll be going over the top strip and the bottom strip a little bit just to blend it in with that Squeezed Lemonade. So then you get a really nice kind of ombre effect or a blended effect between those two colors. And I keep tapping the ink pad continuously with that foam. So you can also see how I store those foams. So each color or each ink pad here, they're like little cubes, little 1-inch cubes. And I've got a foam for every single color here just that I store underneath the ink cubes. So when I need the foam, I just pick it up there with the tool, which has got a Velcro part on that tool, and then pick it up and use the foam. And then once I'm done with it, I then put it back into place behind that ink pad. And what I want to do now is just add a little frame around each strip. So I'm just using a little thin Sharpie, and now I just want to peel off this stencil, and then I've got my little outlines which are correct to the stencil, but I want to make it a little bit more whimsical. So I'm just adding a little bit more freehand drawing here just around each border, and so that'll just give it that, that really nice organic freehand look. So I'm just doing them individually, and then when I do down the sides, I'll then join that line together. And it doesn't matter how messy you are here. I'm deliberately trying to make them so they're not neat, because that's the whole purpose. It's meant to look so that it's like hand drawn. And now I'll just go down the sides here and just to complete my little edged frame. So now I just want to add a little bit more decoration to the envelope. So I've pulled out the wildflowers stencil. So this stencil's got 5 wildflowers on this stencil. They're all different and unique, and I just want to add these to the side here of the envelope. So I'm just using some washi tape just to keep that stencil in place, and I've just added a little bit of extra washi tape over that right hand flower just so it masks off that flower so I don't accidentally sponge in that area and then go into where that address panel is. So I'm just using similar ink colors here to give these flowers a really nice tone and just a little bit darker. So I'm using the Spiced Marmalade color for these first 2 flowers here. And I'm just inking gently down these stems. So the little stems, as you can see, they're quite narrow and skinny. So I don't need to go too hard here with my sponging, just, tapping it through and just doing little circular motions. And then when I peel off that stencil, I'm just being very gentle so that washi tape doesn't rip off that envelope. And then now I just want to go in with a different color because I want to create a little garden of flowers. So what you can do with this stencil is I've just done those first 2 flowers with the Spiced Marmalade color, but now I want to add some lighter yellow flowers, and you can overlap these flowers so then it looks like a little cluster of flowers. So again, I'm just tapping on my ink blending tool onto that ink pad and then just transferring that ink through the stencil. And then I'll just use that same color here just to add a couple of little flowers down the bottom. So I've gone ahead and hand lettered an address to show you how it looks inside the 3-strip stencil. I've just used my own address, but that's because I didn't want to put someone else's address here on publicly on YouTube. But you could create a lot of these envelopes ahead of time and just have them ready on hand for when you do need to add the address for who you're sending to. You can find these stencils along with all of our other small stencils on our website at darkroomdoor.com, or ask for them at your favourite craft retailer. Thanks so much for watching.